Good evening. Welcome to the Living in Utah live question and answer session here Thursday evening. I try to make it every Thursday. It's an open forum. You're welcome to ask any kind of questions you want. If you want to talk about Utah, you want to talk about real estate, maybe you have questions about the United States in general. Sometimes people join us from around the world and have questions about the United States in general. Do my very best to answer what I can. And for tonight's topic, we're going to talk about property tax appeals. So state of Utah, it's a little toasty. We have a weather front, warm front that has come through. Northern Utah, we're seeing upper 90s. Southern Utah, we're seeing about 110. So it's toasty around. It is. I do like it though. I mean, I complain a little bit about it, but if I have lots of water, I seem to do just fine. I do enjoy the longer evenings during the winter months. I find it a little bit tough. Try to get home 6, 7 in the evening, and it's dark, and it feels like it's 10, 11, 12 when I walk in the door. So. I do like this time of the year. It's nice and light. Sun doesn't really go down. It's about 9 o'clock. So do enjoy that. Everything is going great. It's been a very busy week, but it's a dry heat. Yes, it is a dry heat. Yes. Very little humidity. Not like in South Carolina. Yeah, I'm there with you. Areas like Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, even up into areas like Pennsylvania and Ohio, the humidity, it's not for me. I just, not for me. I like the dry heat. So I do like the West Coast. Yeah. Summer months, I can't imagine myself living in an area that has a lot of humidity. So I like to dry, but I also like the low humidity in the winter months because it's not as cold as an area that has high humidity like New York, Pennsylvania. When you add the humidity with the cold too, it brings you that dampness and how you have to cover every part of your skin from getting cold. So you get that notice in the mail and property taxes are a little high. Well, you can appeal. That's your right. You can appeal. And every county has a process. It's may vary a little bit from county to county, but in general, it's about the same. Notices are coming out now. I have actually received notices over the last week. And most counties that I'm aware of that I've had an interaction with on appeals, the deadline to appeal is September the 15th. So we have a short window, about 6 to 7 weeks. So let's take a look at exactly what we need to do. This is the form, and this one is for Weber County. Now, some counties, it's a little difficult. Davis County can be a little bit difficult to figure out where the form is, how to apply online, et cetera, et cetera. It's fairly basic. You put your name, address, the property information, the parcel number. And then you come to a section that says basis for appeal. Why are you appealing? There are a few different reasons to appeal. Most people are doing a market value appeal. So where you're appealing the market value of your home. The higher the market value, the more your property tax bill will be. Okay. And they would like you to put down what the current valuation is on the notice. Let's say $500,000. And please indicate your opinion of market value. So you have the opportunity to put what you feel is the market value. So let's say 400,000. Now I can tell you with past experience, because I appeal every single year without a doubt, all the properties. Why not? All they can do is say no. So it's very, very rare that they go with my value. Let's say we're 500 and I put down 400. In the past, it's typically come back at about a value of about 450, 460, 440. Not close to my value of 400, but we can talk about that a little bit later too. So there's a variety of ways that you can appeal. One is comparable properties. If you purchased a home during the last 2 years, you can send in, a copy of what the purchase was. Or if you've had an appraisal done during the last 2 years, you can submit that. There's an income approach to value. Particularly, this is for rental properties, or if the property's been damaged by natural disaster or qualified real property. So most people are doing the comparable property sell for less, and they would like you to submit 3 comparable properties, and this would be for last year. So you would submit the 3 properties, and they would like you to attach all supporting documentation. So the way that I do it, and I'm not saying this is the best way, it's what's worked for me. I look at the square footage value when I'm looking at comparables. So let's say in my city, there was 40 homes that sold. I will rank them based off square footage. The lowest square footage first, and then the highest square footage last. So I will take those numbers. I'll pull 3 of those properties, and I will take those numbers and multiply it by my square footage. And that's how I come up with my value. And I do give them a little piece of paper, highlighting the square footage of the 3 comparables that I send in, and a little sheet going that states my property is X amount of square footage. And this is what my value, when I multiply my square footage by the average of the 3 properties. And that's how I determine what I feel the market value is. So you submit the data. You fill out this form. Some counties you can do it online. You fill out the form, you sign it. The important thing is, in this particular county, it's due by September the 15th. Mail your form in or drop it off. You can do it electronically. That's my preferred method, electronically. So you get a receipt back, some kind of documentation that it was actually sent in. So from here, it's a waiting game. You just have to wait until the county views your property and makes a determination. Now, that is not the final say in the matter. You can request a hearing, free to go to the hearing, and you would meet in front of the board, the members, and just similar to a courtroom, state your case, why you feel the tax value is wrong or incorrect. I have never personally went in front of a board and taken it any further. I pretty much just submit it. What it comes back as, I usually will accept. And move on. So, and some of that's just due to the time that I just don't have the time to go from county to county to appeal in front of boards all the time. But that's the procedure to appeal property tax. Now, you can also, if something is, when they send the notice, if something is incorrect, you can appeal based off an item on the form that is incorrect. Let's say they got the square footage wrong of your home, then you can submit documentation to say, hey, the information that you have is not correct. I don't see that happening very often, that something is incorrect. Now, their value might be incorrect. I can tell you personally, when I pulled, now this is all data. So you can go onto these county websites, you can pull up address, parcel numbers, and see what the estimated value is for anyone's home, my neighbor's home. So 1 year, one side of my street, the property taxes all went up. On the other side of the street, no increase. So go figure that one. When you live in a cul-de-sac, most of the neighbors know each other, so news spread very quickly. Come to that. How has the market responded to the recent economy? It can't be good, right? Well, here in Utah, the economy is still booming. The real estate market is holding steady. We're not seeing any major increases, any major decreases. It's kind of steady. The economy in Utah, it seems to be doing great, but I do worry about it nationally when I see it seems to be negative news just about everywhere that I turn. Although we are creating jobs in the United States. So the Fed is having a difficult time with the whole raising rates. I'm not too sure they really know what they're doing sometimes. You see some numbers that are down, then you see other data items that are up when typically they should be the same. It's just, and the biggest is the job growth. We're producing jobs and inflation numbers are coming down. But I do worry long-term. Companies like Yellow Trucking Company, they're not doing too well. I read where Disneyland ticket sales are down. This is their busiest time of year. So the Disney company, and some people will say it's because of what's going on in Florida between the governor and Disney World, et cetera, et cetera. I don't really buy it personally. I mean, if you're a family and you have kids and you have plans to go to Disney World, I think you're still going to go. So, and the kids don't care about the political issues that are going on. They just want to go to Disney World. So I see Disneyland, Disney World, Airbnb around the country. Numbers are down. People are renting less Airbnbs than we saw over the last couple of years. Now, it's hard to determine, is that a market condition due to inflation and everything else that's gone on, or the fact that during COVID, the only vacation or most of the vacations that people were taking was to Airbnbs. Places like Disneyland was closed down. California was pretty much closed down. So a lot of families were like, well, let's go to Utah's national parks. Let's get an Airbnb. So I think there was a big increase. I think the economy does play a little bit of a role in that also. But you're seeing new car inventory starting to increase. So they're not selling as well, and rightfully so. When you're at 7% interest rates, it's way different than a couple years ago when car loans were 2%, 1%. I think some manufacturers at one point were offering 0% financing. So, there's some kinks in the armor. There's some kinks worldwide in the armor. And so we're such a global economy these days. that I do worry about other countries around the world, and I won't even talk about the whole Russia-Ukraine thing, because we know that whole economy there is in the toilet. But countries like Canada, England, just the ones that I know of. There's many other countries that have variable rate mortgages. It's almost standard. They've gone from 2-3% mortgages to 6-7% mortgages in the last year, 6 months, maybe 8 months. It's affecting those countries very, very heavily. So if you're a homeowner and you have a mortgage on your property, it's a little tough in some of those countries. It's just going up and up. So I think the United States, we're very fortunate, and I think that's helped our economy by having fixed rate mortgages. People who are during the slower times, like maybe now, with that fixed rate mortgage, at least you can count on the fact that your payment's going to stay the same month after month. Now it'll go up for insurance and property taxes, but in general, the loan on the home will stay the same. So it does help. Now we have higher gas prices, grocery prices, etc. So I'm not saying that we're not being affected, but it could be worse, because if we were all in variable rate mortgages, we would all be seeing large increases. So me included. And that's tough. It's tough on rental properties too. If you're renting out a property, if you have an Airbnb and you had a variable rate, it would be tough. So we are very fortunate in the United States. But I've said many times, I can't see how the economy will not go down at some point. We spent $4 trillion during COVID. It's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. So those notes have to be paid, and it's you just can't keep giving money out. So, but we needed to during that time period. I mean, a lot of businesses were shut. If you owned a gym, a restaurant, some states were shut. If you were in the state of California, pretty much everything was shut. So it was, tough times. You got to stimulate the economy somehow, and they did it through lowering the borrowing rate on everything, not just homes, but cars, credit cards, everything to help people out. We also gave out a lot of stimulus money, we gave out checks. So the list goes on and on and on. So, yeah, we'll see how things go. Any more questions this evening? Hello, Mr. Construction. How are you doing this evening? The one good thing in Utah, I'm not seeing huge job losses. I've seen a little bit in the tech industry, but overall, we're holding pretty good. Not too sure about some other states, but must be tired tonight. Okay. I'm going to call it an evening, and hope everybody has a great weekend, and I will see you again in a week's time. Thank you.